Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I'm going to be doing a book review of a book I was sent for review. I have not even hauled this yet, but I dived into it as soon as I got my hands on it. This is Robin by David Idzokoff. I just finished this, literally just finished this. I've been working through it very slowly. Because it was very packed full with information, and at first I was feeling like it was a little slow and a little too much information and a little too intense for me as far as a nonfiction goes, but I ended up adoring it, feeling really strongly about it, and just finding this to be really important and really valuable and really sad. Like really sad. And I want to just say first of all that Robin Williams was a huge part of my childhood. I don't think I watched many of his adult films in my later years, but as a child, he was a huge part of my childhood as the Genie and Mrs. Doubtfire and Jumanji. And, you know, knowing him from those videos, I never knew him as the man he was, and I don't think many of his audience knew him as the man he was, where he was really depressed and low and had low self-esteem and felt very challenged with everyday life, and he went through addiction and he went through some really terrible things, and in the end of his life he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, but after his autopsy, it was found to be Lewy body disease, or Lewy body's dementia. And that, when you look at the symptoms of LBD, I honestly don't know if I could cope with them, and I deal with some of them already, so hallucinations, paranoia, depression, but also the diagnosis of Parkinson's is a very common misdiagnosis for somebody with LBD, and the symptoms of Parkinson's are so horrendous and so detrimental to the body that somebody to be dealing with that plus these hallucinations and paranoia, it would drive anybody to the point of breaking. And I think the argument here is that's what drove him to the point of breaking, not his depression, not his past. It was the fact that he was no longer able to function how he was knowingly able to function as a human being. He had a photographic memory which would allow him to wow his people that he worked with. He would look at a script and be able to memorize it ASAP, and he would be able to take on new lines that were written for him the night before and just memorize them immediately and set them to the scene. He was able to do so many things with his memory because it was so incredible that for that to be taken away in his state of LBD later on in his life must have been just awful and so terrifying and so unfair. And I think that that's a big thing, is that his life was just unfair for somebody who was so talented and so smart and so different and so endearing. It was just heart-wrenching for me to read this experience that he would have gone through that would have caused him so much pain in the later or last parts of his life. I personally thought this book was insightful and really brilliant and really well done. It is a chunker. It comes in at 438 pages, so it takes some time. And it takes some time to get into. You do start back at the beginning of his childhood and really go into that. And it's a good chapter. The first like 30 or 40 pages are his childhood. And you get to really see what it was like for this young boy who was moved around constantly and left to his own devices and kind of left alone and without friends and without family. And his imagination was his way out and his escape, and his chance at survival. And I think he took that and channeled it into a greater success that he had in his own life, where he was able to take his imagination and run with it to cause improv and voices and ideas that really inspired so much good within him. And as a man, he really surrounded himself with younger people and children because he was able to identify with them more, and he felt more kinship to them. And he never really grew up in a lot of ways. There's a little bit of a Peter Pan element to him, where there's no Neverland, there's no Wendy. It's not like that. It's just this longing to be able to just enjoy the magic of the world, and to find happiness within the world. And that was something he really struggled with and that he was unable to achieve. And that's just heartbreaking to me. And it's so just intensely moving to me to feel what it is like as somebody myself who has a want for the world to be a better place in a more, loving way. I can really relate to that idea of wanting a more magical world and wanting to find happiness within it. And my depression does get so bad sometimes that I myself have suffered suicidal ideations, and I've been there in that moment where you have to make the decision, do you attempt or do you move forward? And I'll be honest with you guys, I have not always picked the move forward option, but I never got caught after my attempt, so I just kind of didn't succeed and let it go. But the attempt still occurred, and that want to lose those hallucinations and those paranoid thoughts and those depressed feelings is still very prevalent in me. But with a lot of therapy and hard work, I've come to accept what it is to live with this illness that I have, and to move forward. But for Robin, it was not an option to move forward. He had hit his breaking point in existence, and he made a decision, and that decision struck a lot of people and really upset quite a few people, and it changed the life of his children and the people that loved him, and it will forever have changed those people, and forever have changed the way that a lot of people view him. And I think that his choice was not right or wrong. I don't think I can judge him on that choice that he made. And I don't think that it's right to judge on that choice that he made. I think offer him love and acceptance of that choice, and that's the best thing you can do for him or for anyone who chooses to take their own life. And there really is no way to do this review and just focus on the brilliance and the humor that he gave us, because while those things are very strong and very poignant, he inevitably made a choice that shifted his appearance to a lot of people. And I think that this book really talks about him, and it's sad to be reading about it in the past tense. He did, instead of he is and he will, was just really, it was difficult, and it took a little while for me to get into the book, partially because of that past tense, and to feel that sadness again and that grief again for him being lost. But yes, I was sent this by Henry Holt. I really enjoyed this book. I felt it was really heartfelt and wonderful and intuitive, and I highly recommend it. If you are a Robin Williams fan, I would say pick it up. And if you are curious about the experience of somebody who suffered a mental illness or a major illness in their life, and chose to self-medicate in some situations, and also to succumb to suicide, I think this is a really important book to discuss that. And it doesn't focus on his death. It doesn't make you feel as if his death is the only thing relevant, but it's very clear that his life and his death affected a lot of people. So yeah, that is my review of that book. I know it was kind of sad, but it really struck me in that way, more so than it did to make me laugh. I think had he written a memoir, I would have loved it, and I would have felt really strongly connected to that, and I would have loved to hear his humor and his anecdotes on life. But as it stands, I have this, and I am very happy to have it on my shelves, and I will keep it. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, click that subscribe button down below. I will see you all in my next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.